You see women's spears for sure.
Excuse me. Did you see
There's
the
free
TV show?
water upstairs.
I hear Adriana's walking.
I brought some tissues in case it was emotional.
Test one, two. Good evening, I am Juanqui and welcome to my world. I'm here. I'm here to give you a few minutes, okay? How's everybody doing? Happy, what is this, like the 12th week of the year? Happy, today is Palm Sunday for those Christians and Catholics who practice. And I think Good Friday is on Friday. Easter is next Sunday. We're just getting through the year. If you have stumbled upon my channel, I am Juanqui and welcome to my world. I am a cornucopia of stuff. You just never know what kind of video you're going to get. All right. Today, I'm just here to jaw jack a little bit, just run my mouth a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So start of the week, I didn't want to do too much. I didn't want to be too deep, you know, with the confessions and all of that stuff. I'm just playing it cool. There may be some moments of SAMRS-ness because I made me some iced tea. Listen, that's the ice. Don't trust nobody who gives you iced tea with no ice in that cup, okay? So I make my own iced tea here in the domicile. I take 3 bags of Lipton black iced tea. Yes, the black iced tea. I put a pot of water to boil. The hardest part is just getting the water to boil. Then I dump the bags in there and I let it simmer and sit there for a good 30 minutes. Then I pour about 3 like rice spoons, the big sauce spoons of brown sugar into the receptacle, the container, and then I pour that hotness in there and I mix it all up, make sure that it's all mixed up, right? And then I take about 3 or 4 bottles of water and then I dump them in the basket, in the receptacle, and then I put some ice in there and I just let everything just marinate together. It just feels so good knowing what you put into, what you're putting inside your body. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and then that lasts me for the whole week. That's, you know, it feels fresh. I control how much sugar. There's no preservatives in there. None of that. So that's how I do my iced tea. I'm sitting here having a little bit of iced tea. Hopefully it's black iced tea. So, you know, but I'm so used to it now that it won't keep me up at night. You know how sometimes tea can keep you up because of the caffeine. I don't think there's a lot of caffeine in this one. I hope not anyway. But so that's what I'm doing. I'm just chilling, just reflecting on the week. You know, we're getting ready to do this whole Holy Week. And I realized that the Muslims had their Holy Week like last week, a couple of weeks ago. I work with a few Muslims. I've worked with a few Muslims. What's interesting about this year is that I did not see the Muslim community really get into it like they get into it on previous years. Like when, you know, Ramadan and the fasting and it was like I saw a whole big deal out of them. This year, not so much. Not at all. I don't know why. But I do know that some of them were canceling their pilgrimage to Mecca because that all took place the time when they're supposed to go and walk around the what is it, the Ka with the K, that structure. They are supposed to walk around 7 times. I know somebody who canceled their trip, and I know somebody who was thinking of canceling their trip and still went ahead and did it. I mean, because if that's your faith, right? If that's your faith, then, you know, commit to it. And he was like, "Listen, if it's my time to go, I'd rather go when I'm on my way to Mecca than, you know, not going and here, So he went ahead and he did it anyway. I give it to the Muslims. Are very dedicated. They're very dedicated. They're very committed. When I was working in the back alleys of Wall Street and I would take my lunch break, the FedEx guy would throw his little cloth on the floor right there in the basement, because I would come out to the basement, for the killer and the stalker. Secret, one thing about Juanqui Pro, I rarely do the front entrance. So if you're looking for me, go through, make sure you look for in the service entrances and exits, the tunnels that connect other buildings. If I can go through the other that's just been my MO my whole life. I just, I like to go through with the service people and the delivery guys and the whole nine. The reason being is I feel like it's faster and it's also less crowded at times. So anyway, so when I will be going to lunch, I will exit through the back of the building. So I will go through the basement, and I will see the FedEx guy with his little thing, throwing himself on the floor, doing his thing, and just very committed. He would wrap it up and roll it up, and he had a little pouch on his side, and he would just do that. So very committed. Another religion that's very committed, is the Jews. Especially the Hasidic Jews. The ones that have the curlies. And they're always dressed like they're going to a funeral. They're very committed. They're very committed. The women are very committed to being oppressed. This is just how they've been brainwashed and indoctrinated since they were young, since they were children. And think about it. If you don't know anything else, and you have been confined to this thought process and this set of rules and this moral code. Notice how I said code and not compass. Moral code and, this oppression and all of that, then you don't know anything else, right? You don't know anything else. You don't know. So, but these women they shave their heads, the wigs, they don't go out on Fridays. They cannot complete a circuit on Fridays. Literally, they cannot complete a circuit on Fridays. They cannot turn a light on and off. Well, after the sun goes down into Saturday, they can't turn the light switch on and off when the sun goes down all the way into Saturday when the sun sets again. It's a lot. It's a lot. ASMR, crunchy ice. Hulk. That's the ASMR portion of this video. I told you, you're never gonna know what you're gonna get. So, the Jews, but nobody takes the motherfucking cake than the Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh yes. By the way, I've studied all of these religions in depth. I have a high level of interest in organized cultish religion. It just always fascinates me how you can get a group of people to follow along, and as an outsider, you see these things and they're so like out there. No one takes the cake than the Jehovah's Witnesses. The Jehovah's Witnesses will tell their congregation, do not follow no man. Do not listen to no man. Ain't no man on earth, worthy of your sheepness and followness. Hello, Miss Nubiology. Nice to see you. Miss Nubi is one of them nights where if I could call the understudy in, I will have called the understudy in, but I have no understudy because I am the production. Okay. So now I'm just going down the line of religion as we're getting ready to do observe. It's not a celebration. Observe Holy Week with the culmination of Good Friday and then Easter next Sunday. But I was at the Jehovah Witnesses. The Jehovah Witnesses will sit the whole congregation in the Kingdom Hall and talk about the earthly people, the worldly people. Somebody like me is worldly, okay? That they use it as a negative thing. You know, everybody else is using it as somebody who's traveled the world and it knows shit. But no, the Jehovah Witnesses use the word worldly as a negative. So they'll tell, don't follow no worldly person, don't follow no man, you know, Jehovah, all of that. However, the whole institution is ran by 6 white men. Living for free in the high floors of the Watch Tower in Brooklyn, right across the street from the Brooklyn Bridge, with a beautiful, fabulous view of the New York City skyline. Rent free. They got mansions and compounds, compounds that they supposedly built because, the end was near and only 160 something thousand were going to be saved. And by the way, they recently got sued for discrimination. And, one of the 6 or all of the 6, somebody of them 6, the fabulous 6, came back to the people and told them that, we got some updates. Oh, yes, Jehovah sent some updates. He said, first of all, the calendar's off. So the end is not near that close. We're not that close to the end. It's not going to be 160 something thousand. We don't really know the number, so it could be more. Women can now wear skirts. Now, women can now wear skirts, because before they had them all looking like a whole bunch of bull dykers and, with long pants they couldn't show, or their skirts had to go all the way to the ankles. You were lucky if you saw a toe. But the women can now wear pants. Oh, yes, they can. They can wear pants. They can wear skirts. Men can have facial hair. Before you couldn't have beards. Beards. Let's see. Miss Newbie says, I study world religion and theology at my major, but them damn Jehovah Jokers really got on the mind. This is what I'm discussing. No one takes the cake, Miss Newbie. Not even the Hasidic Jews. And they have like 300 rules. If you cut your nails, you got to put them in the jar. You can't close the circuit on Friday after the sun comes down. The women cannot sleep with the men when they're on their period. Forget about the men that's into that vampire shit. They can't. They got to go to they got these pools that only the woman can use, because they literally are telling their women that their bodies are dirty. Drop a bomb on that. And I'm not going to get into the recent discoveries, because this was news to me, Miss Nuvi. Over the last 10 years, New York City did a lot of investigative reporting. And it turned out that especially in Brooklyn, we have a huge population of Hasidic Jews. And literally 90-something% of the population was on EBT and welfare and they're having 8, 9, 12 kids, and they're all under under social services, and they feel like that's the right to just get on the social services. The men are not working. The men's job is to study their book. I mean, I'm all for half as many kids as you can take care of. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I just feel like it's such an oppressive religion towards the women, especially towards the women. But getting back to the Jehovah Witnesses, they take the cake. They take the cake with them. So now, Miss Newby, they just came out. They got sued. And so because they got sued, they've now made all these changes that supposedly one of the anointed ones got a download from Jehovah himself. And so everybody got programmed at the Jehovah Witness at the Kingdom Hall meeting, and everybody got downloaded the information. It's crazy to me. I've been to some of these establishments. Jehovah Witnesses have come at me many times. I don't know if they found me to be a special project or what it was, but they even went as far as to I had a mentor of mine who was actually a Jehovah Witness. Yeah, can you believe that? And the mentor knew about me, everything about me, and the whole nine. But I drew that line very, very clearly in the sand. As a young person, I said, I enjoy you. I'm learning about you. You are giving me mentorship, but don't talk to me about the Jehovah Witness stuff. Not interested. And so, but one time she did invite me to, I guess it was a commemoration of the death of Jesus, right? Jesus Christ, is that what it is? A commemoration of the death of Jesus, right? And so, which would be Holy Week. It happens this week, right? So, she said, make sure you wear your suit. And I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. It was right there in Washington Heights. So Kingdom Hall was right a few blocks from my house. I realized once she invited me what it was. All these people with suits always outside at like 6 o'clock. So I go home, I shower, I change into I go over there. And she tells me, they're going to pass this plate with the crackers and like the wine. Don't sip from it. And I was like, well, then why are they passing it? Well, they're passing it because the people who are the anointed, one of those 600,000, one of those 160,000, if they're in the crowd, they're the only ones who can partake. So I'm like, well, how do they know? Like, what are the qualifications? Y'all know me, as ignorant as I was. And she was like, oh, no, they just know. I'm like, well, what do you mean you just know? Like, how do we know? Like, what have they done? No, it's something that they just know. She couldn't give me an explanation of who this 160,000 people were and how they were chosen. And she said, no, it's like they lived their life a certain way. But I'm like, but if you don't know them, I could just get up and be like, I'm one of the 60,000, 160,000. Oh, no, but that's not you because I know how you live your life. But I'm like, but how do you know if you don't know the person and they just get up? She was like, no, just pass it over. I'm like, fine. So we're sitting in the, first of all, their services go for like 3 hours. They pass that collection plate like 6 times, just like Catholics. Okay, just like Catholics. Ms. Nubiology says, me too, Juanqui. I'll listen, but them Jehovah's are too aggressive and egregious. And with the door knocking, and they've been after me since Puerto Rico days. And then they had the little booklets. And as a child, those booklets with the pictures really did grab my interest. I would just grab them, especially on the train here in New York. They stand in the corners and stuff like that. A lot more before COVID. After COVID, they started doing different things. But the Awake, the newspaper, the little magazine, it was like a comic book to me. But the Awake with the lions, and they're all in paradise, and I was just like, these kids and these people are in this jungle with these animals, and I don't see no animal no animal eating nobody. I don't see the lion with somebody's leg in his mouth. Everybody's always so I would just like to I will get it just to see the pictures. One of them is Awake, and the other one is the Atalaya or something like that. Atalaya. Anyway, so I go to the meeting, Miss Newbie, right? And I'm sitting there with my mentor, and all the men are in suits, very professional. I'm like sitting there, and there's a couple of people down on my same bench. It's an old lady, right? And then the time comes for the plate, right? So my mentor grabs the plate, she looks at it, she passes it over to me. I look at the plate. Awake and Watchtower. Yes. So she passes the plate to me. I look at the plate. I pass it over to the person next to me. The person looks at the plate. She passes it over to the old lady that's sitting there. The old lady goes in for that cracker and that wine. And I was like, oh shit, it's one of them. I was like, oh shit, it's one of them. I took my hand and I touched my mentor's knee, and my mentor's just like looking forward. She just gave me like the quick side eye and kept looking forward. So that lady took a cracker and she put her lips right on that cup and gave it to the next person. Baby, talk about communal diseases and all of that, the backwash, child. Hell to the motherfucking no. So then the meeting was over. I went home. The next day, I was talking to my mentor, and it was time for me to process. And I was like, "Did you see the old lady?" And she was like, "Yeah, she must be one of the 160,000." And I'm like, "But do you know her?" And she's like, "No, I don't know her." And I'm like, "Well, how do you know?" She just knows. We don't. It's not for us to know. She just knows. Those who are called, or the one. And she gave me the whole thing. And then they're really good, Miss Newbie, about quoting from their paperwork and their book. Because let's not get it twisted. Their paperwork says what they want it to say. Okay? Their paperwork is going to say what they need it to say when getting into a discussion, for lack of a better term. I call it an argument with somebody. So she started going into scriptures and, giving me the citations and the bookmarks. And, how I almost feel when I was talking to her, I was at the library. Remember when you used to go to the library and you used to go to the little, this is dating me, but you used to go to little drawers that you will pull up. You will pull the drawer and then you pull up the title and it will have like a freaking citation and you wrote it on a piece of paper and then it was time to go hunting for the fucking citation. And we were like 2 numbers, dot, 3 numbers, dot, another 5 numbers, dot, 1 number, dot. And you had to go searching. That's what she sounded like, quoting things from from her Jehovah Bible and stuff. So, I'm glad that she invited me. I felt a little special. And she was like, there's another meeting. I said, no. It was just to support you. It was interesting. Everybody was very nice, but I know what y'all do. I had another friend who was actually like in the theater company with me, and he got not banned. They have a specific word for it. In Catholic church is called excommunicated back in the day. He got shunned from the whole thing. Why? Because he was a homosexual and refused to not give up dick. Because he refused to let these people tell him what to put in his mouth and when to put it in his mouth. They shunned him. And so my mentor was no longer able to speak with him. And we were all in the same circle, by the way. As a matter of fact, we all worked together. All right. He was in the company with me, and she used to deal with the finances and stuff like that for the company. So we were all she had to pay him. And when it was time to give him the check, because there was no direct deposit at that time, she would just leave his check in his desk and walk away. Drop a bomb on that. Miss Newbie says, when I would say, quote, in my experience, etc., all they could was quote that book like robots. No, sir, no, ma'am, no, hunty. Yeah, that's what they do. Because it's the brainwashing. It's the absolute brainwashing. It's so sad. It's so sad. YouTube, the reason why this came up is because YouTube has been giving me a lot of videos like the last 2 weeks of people who are really awaking from the Jehovah's Witnesses. And it's so crazy because you're seeing these people that grew up with this view and that their parents forced them to do this, be completely lost now as millennials. For some reason, it's millennials that I'm catching. They just feel completely lost. And in my head, I'm like, and as I'm watching, I'm like, no, don't feel lost like you. And they're like, continue to search, and everything I believe was a lie. Bitch, if you don't pick yourself up and dust yourself up, you've been freed. I don't get it. You have been freed. When the light bulb goes up and you start questioning and they cannot give you nothing but robotic answers from their book, and you decide, okay, this may not be the thing for me. Why are you now so invested? I'm seeing videos of people now searching for the next religion, for the next thing to believe. I think it's time for you to just be worldly, travel around, just be open, sit with yourself, see what speaks to you, what you feel. You know, I was raised a Catholic. This new biology. I was raised a Catholic. Did the first communion, the baptism, the whole nine. Was in training for altar boy, and I had the rope and everything. They tried the little rope on me and everything. Mama, daddy, grandma, proud as hell. Catholic school, the whole nine. Did my first communion in the 3rd grade, which I think is way too fucking young. I think the 3rd grade, way too damn young. First of all, 3rd grade, you having me, and you know, and I was advanced. So I was in the same, I was like always been the youngest in my class because I was advanced for like 2 years, something crazy, right? So I was like, I think when I did my first communion, I was like 7 maybe. 7 or 8 years old. 7 or 8 years old. You sending me, and you know, because I wasn't the only one, but to confessions with this man behind this thing. Or we were I went to Catholic school complete with nuns with long ass rulers that will hit you. Okay, that will hit you. The uniforms, so the whole nine. Religion was a class. My Bible was my textbook. Read it cover to cover. The whole thing. And now I'm in a room by myself during school hours because we're going to have confession today during these periods. And so you will have to get up, you know, during math class or whatever. The priest will be in the classroom next door and you will have to go with him and tell him all your tea. All your motherfucking tea. I mean, have to tell that man in my not my teens, but like I was like probably like 11, 12, you know, 12, 13, telling him about me watching porn and all of that. And, you know, then he tried to give me a whole speech about, well, if you start seeing it, you're going to start want to do it. And in my head, I'm like, I ain't putting this inside her. Not now, not never. See, that's what he had me fucked up. He told me, stop watching porn because if you're gonna want to start doing what you're seeing there. In my head, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just seeing how dirty they're getting down, but I'm not putting nothing inside her. I digress. But so I grew up in all of that. And then there came a point where I was like, well, first of all, hold on a second. I started realizing the collection plate got passed down definitely 3 times. And then before the last announcement, we have a special trip. We need a bus. We're doing this for the kids. The Three Kings celebration. We're going to have the special dinner. We're having this special raffle. So this 4th collection plate is just for this. I know you gave 3 times before. First for the lights and the electricity. The second for the little priest, his upkeep and maintenance. The 3rd one is for, your sins and all that. And this 4th one is for the trip. We're taking a bus and we're going to the pilgrimage to the... And I was like, this collection plate is getting passed way too fucking much. And then I started hearing about my local priest. Yes, the same one that was at the school, because it was all local shit. I heard that he went down for, what do the Catholic priests know to be doing with the children? With the boys from the neighborhood. Never me. I think he already peeped that I would have told the tea. Never me. But some other boys in the community. So I think he went to jail, actually. And he was a priest from the community and the school. And the funny thing is that the school was like right there. The school was a good, like maybe 40 minutes away on a car. But that was the same priest in my community. So he went down. So I'm hearing all of this and I'm like, you know what? I don't need to be going. I got better things to do on my Saturdays than this, altar boy class shit, Catholic class, And then on Sundays, I'm staying in. And, and that was another argument with my parents. Because they wanted to force me. I'm like, you ain't going to force me. Y'all go ahead, go. Well, we'll pray for you. Pray for me 10 times, please. 10 times. Now, even though I don't want to say rebel, even though I'm not all for the, like, I don't need a middleman between me and what I, connect with. If I want to light a candle, I don't need to go to a church. Now, sometimes I've been known to step into a church and light a, because I've been moved to, but I'm not listening to no, I don't need somebody. I don't need a person with blood just like me, thoughts, feelings, emotions, cells, bones, and stuff like that, to tell me they anointed. I wasn't there for your anointation. I didn't see the angel come down and touch you. So to get up there, especially with all the secrecy and all the, and then Miss Newbie, let me see, how do I say this without giving away too much? I had info and intel into the books of a church that it's they have like a little soup kitchen and stuff like that, and millions with a millions, more than one, not 1 million, no, millions, several. A couple is 2, several is more than 3 millions, bringing in millions a year. Millions a year. And it's not like, okay, well, they're bringing millions and it's a mega church, everything is state of the art or whatever. No, the thing still looks dilapidated. The people, they're not, it's not like they're giving houses and cars and pantries of food and so like, they're not doing that. So where are these millions going? Where are they being funneled to? Millions and millions a year, and I don't see it. These benches are still cracking in, the wood is falling apart. The millions and millions. And then I saw the priest. The priest had the Prada, the Gucci, all of that. A big old flaming queen. Never would admit it, but a big old flaming queen with the Gucci, the Gucci, the Prada, the Louis, everything. Yeah, I'm good. Y'all can have that. Y'all can have all of that. All of that y'all can have. I like my own little religion, which is just between me and the higher powers that I believe in and that I speak to and that I pray to and that work for me. Okay? With that said, I do acknowledge certain moments, throughout the year. I do acknowledge Easter Sunday, the resurrection. I do acknowledge, and we all know, we should all know that it doesn't, it's not like it happened really Sunday, that it's just a period of time to just acknowledge it. That for all we know, that's not even in the regular calendar, the way that it happened. It's not even in the regular month. I think some years the month changes and everything, right? So, but I acknowledge the crucifixion, I acknowledge the resurrection, the birth, things like that. But you ain't going to find Juan Key Pro. The best church Juan Key Pro goes to is the one he has at home right here. Right there. Miss Newbie hit it in the nail right there. And put it right up here. I'm not close right with this. Exactly. I'm spiritual now. Exactly. Spiritual. I feel like spiritual is what you have. Like your connection, what you feel. And then when you go to the religion, that's when the money start coming in. That's when the control of the masses start coming in. I just want to know, and I'm going to leave it with this. And if y'all don't want to do some more research, do some more research. Do you know, Ms. Newbie? I'm sure you know because you said you studied it. But do y'all know that the Vatican, that's over there where the Pope is and all that, they have a vault with all these secret books that they do not let anybody read. These are ancient texts, ancient books that they say they could never release or let anybody read because it has all the secrets of all the things. Drop a bomb on that. Now, if keeping information from people is not oppression at its finest, I don't know what is. If keeping information from people is not oppression, I don't know what is. And then another thing that always rubbed me the wrong way is, why is the Vatican so golded out, iced out? Drop a bomb on that. Don't they take a vow of poverty? Or is it just to say that? But the Lucci, the Gucci, the Cucci, the Vlada, the Vludi, all of that. Why is the Vatican? Because my mom over there, my mom is very into, as people get older, Because I remember a period when she was not about that life. But my mom, she went over there, Miss Newbie, a couple of years ago, right when the war is happening right now. Her and my father, and they went to the river in the Jordan River with a whole church group, and they got baptized at the Jordan River. Okay? Bless her heart. I got the DVD and everything. She paid a drone to watch her get baptized, dressed in white and the whole nine, on the Jordan River. But I digress again. But yeah, I don't. Yeah. Anyway, I want to thank everybody who came through. Thank you, Miss Newbie, for listening to my rant. This is what it is. Do I believe in God? Yes. Do I believe in the Pope and the Vatican? No. Period. Point blank. Do I believe in angels? Absolutely. Do I believe in the Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on my door, talk about awake? No. Do I think as Hasidic Jews are oppressing their women? Absolutely. I look at them all the time. You could see the oppression in their face. You could see the oppression in their face. But anyway, thank you everybody for listening to me rant as we head into one of the holiest weeks of the Christian and Catholic religion, with Palm Sunday being today. Today is the day that allegedly Jesus rode a donkey into Jerusalem, and they were celebrating the arrival of the king. Take me to the king. And he was in the donkey, and they were swinging the palms. And so they give out palms in commemoration of that. And then there's the other thing, Miss Newbie, that I didn't like. The timelines was always messed up for me. It's like, okay, well, he came in, and then 7 days later they put him in the cross. I thought he had been there for a while. But that's the whole thing. And then Friday is when he's being crucified. And then 3 days later, he rose from the dead, like Thriller. Okay? That was a little fucked up. I'm sorry. I have to go. I have to go now. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, Miss Newbie. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.